when I have this purpose, it gives me the motivation, it gives me the resilience, it gives me the creativity, it gives me the strength and power to really solve a problem. And this energy source is missing when I'm not in an environment that is aligned with my passion and purpose.
Having studied social innovation at the Amani Institute, Gianmarco Marinello founded Nynami, a social enterprise in Nairobi, Kenya, that builds on the street skills and life stories of former street children and youths from slums to give them a job, income, and sustainable future in life. Today, the profitable business is run independently by the youths and is #1 on TripAdvisor for tours in Nairobi. Gianmarco currently supports Nynami as an advisor and business developer, lectures at universities on social innovation, is a business developer of a tech startup, and works as an HR recruiter for an insurance company. In this episode, we talk about Gianmarco's wake-up call and transition from a string of positions that didn't have anything to do with his values to becoming the mentor he had always wanted to have himself and radically changing lives. You're listening to Going Conscious, the podcast where we discover new ways to live a more conscious life of fulfillment and freedom. Each week, I speak with entrepreneurs, academics, and changemakers who have made big transformations, left unfulfilling lives behind, and found meaning in this new world where purpose drives success. Let's get inspired to live our unique journeys to the fullest. Let's explore the impact we want to make and deepen our understanding of ourselves, each other, and this beautiful world around us. Live your freedom. I'm your host, Nikki Trott. In this episode, we talk about Gianmarco's incredible work helping people from the slums to escape a life of crime and build their own self-esteem, creating power to give back to their communities. We talk about why success means living aligned with your true self, why the more you earn, the worse the job, the incredible energy source you tap into when aligned with your passion and purpose, not having to question who you are or if you're doing the right thing anymore, and the importance of being patient on your journey to believing in your inner voice. Now let's go to our conversation. Gianmarco, welcome to Going Conscious.
Thank you very much. Hi, Nikki. Pleasure.
I'd love to start by asking you to tell us a bit about your wake-up call, which came to you when you were 30.
My wake-up call. Oh, yeah, that's a good question. So when I was 30 years old, I was working for a company in a position that had nothing to do with my personality, with my identity, with my values, with nothing basically. And I really hit this dead-end road. And then I knew, okay, you are 30 years old now, so you really have to change something in your life. This was my wake-up call.
So what was this dead-end job and how did you know that it was so wrong for you? What was the feeling that you got that made that so clear?
Yeah, so what happened? So originally I studied psychology because I'm a person who is very much interested in human nature in people. And that's why I studied this subject. But after I graduated, I wanted to really find a place where I can unfold my full potential. I wanted to find the perfect job, the perfect spot for me where I could really make use of my strength. And along this journey, I changed jobs, employers, and roles like underwear. So I moved on, I moved on. So I worked for banks, I worked for insurance, I worked until I ended up then in this specific industrial company. And there I was working as a business analyst in management controlling. So it had nothing to do anymore with my original job. And then I realized, hey, on your search, you really got off your track. And I never realized this. And this was like a wake up call, like, hey, something went wrong, and now you have to find back on track. And the problem was it was not the position, the tasks, it was not aligned with my values or my strength and skills and what I wanted to achieve in life. So as I said, I studied psychology and now I'm a business analyst. So and doing and dealing with numbers and figures, no. I wanted to do something with people.
So then how did you go about making the change? So you're in this job, you realize you have to leave, and what was your journey from there to founding Nai Nami?
Yeah, so what happened then when I looked back at my journey? So I really did some introspection and I reflected on myself, and then I realized, hey, um, you try to find the right spot for you, and the consequence was that you changed jobs and employers, and you adapted to new environments all the time, and I tried to figure out where I belong. And uh, I was frustrated because I could never find this place. But then I realized, hey, your passion actually is to really go into a new environment, learn a new job, meet new people, adapt you to a new place. This was my passion. And once I figured it out how it works, I wanted to move on. And at the same time, I was always looking for mentors in these places, like supervisors or just mentors who could guide me to the place I wanted to be, or the place I belonged. But I could never find these mentors. And then I realized, hey, um, why don't you make use of your passion, which is reinventing yourself, trying out new things, learning new things, dive into new environments, and at the same time become this mentor for other people and become this mentor, a mentor that I needed for myself, the mentor I was looking for myself. I wanted to become this mentor for others, but for people who never had a chance in life. And this is how I redefined my past journey into a passion, and gave it a purpose by becoming a mentor for other people who were not as privileged as I am.
Amazing. I love that. Becoming your own mentor and really finding your passion and then turning it into a purpose.
Yeah, this is in hindsight. I could see this storyline. Yeah, it's all in hindsight. You can connect the dots. Yeah, but this is when I look back on my journey. This is actually what happened.
So, can you tell us a bit about Nynami and how you came to found it and what it does and how it helps the disadvantaged youth from the slums of Nairobi?
Yeah, exactly. So what happened then next is becoming this mentor for disadvantaged people. And diving again into a new environment. Well, what happened then next? My next step was I went to Nairobi, where I studied social innovation because I wanted to work with disadvantaged youth from African slums. And that's how I founded the social enterprise Nynami, with the aim to give youth from slums a future, or let's say a sustainable future in life. And I wanted to become this mentor for them, the mentor I would have needed for myself. And that's how I went there in 2016. And I went to the Amani Institute to study social innovation. And through this program, I launched a at this time, it was a small project for youth from the Matare slum, the second biggest slum in Nairobi. And at the beginning, I had to understand the whole environment first. And when I spoke to these youth, I found out that all of them, or most of them, they drop out of school at some point at a very early age. And many of them, they become street children who raise themselves in the city center of Nairobi, and they look for survival on their own. Actually, most of them at a very young age. And of course, then they won't go back to school anymore. They start with begging, and then they actually start a criminal career. And the ones who are still alive at the age of, as young adults, let's say at the age of 20, 23, 25, usually they are severe criminals at this point in life, because you become better and better in what you are doing. And at the same time, they don't have school certificates, nothing. So basically, what you can say from our perspective, hey, at the age of 25, criminal record, street life, no no school certificates, nothing. It's game over. This is basically what people. Of course, it also makes sense, but this is what people think then. But then I realized, hey, these guys, um, they have amazing street skills and really fascinating life stories, and this can also be an asset, and an asset that can be transformed into an income and into a job. And I realized that these weaknesses, officially they are called weaknesses. Street skills is usually, they apply these skills to commit crime, to steal, to snatch phones, to hustle, to beg. So it's really in a negative way they apply these skills. But these street skills can also be transformed into something positive in a positive activity, together with their fascinating life stories. And this is how we founded Nai Nami. So I came together with three youth from the Matare slum, and we developed this idea together of becoming storytelling tour guides in the Nairobi city center, where they raised themselves as street children. And nowadays they offer a 3 hours inspiring walking tour whereby they share their life stories with people from all around the world, and they make these people experience Nairobi through the eyes of a street child. And this is how they have a job now and a regular income, and they can take care of themselves without being dependent on crime anymore.
Incredible. So, as you went through this journey, it sounds like it would have also been a really big change for you as you then stepped into those shoes, becoming the mentor that you never had.
Yes, but for me it was really my passion. Like, of course, as you can imagine, it's not easy to work with such youth, different culture, different background. I mean, completely different background. But what really is my passion is to to connect with other people, like finding a way to really connect on a deeper level. So I had to gain their trust first. I had to find the right language. How will they understand what I'm trying to tell them? How can I explain my perspectives to them? And actually, how can I convince them that they are not weak? How can I convince them of the fact that they have fascinating street skills and that they can turn them around into a positive, sustainable activity? And this is a personal challenge I had, but which is also my passion to do this. This is really what gives me energy to do this with people, like convince them of their own potential and make them believe in themselves.
Is there a story you can share with us of someone who comes to mind who you were able to convince that they have so much more to give and then really see them transform?
Yeah, it's the Nai Nami story actually, which was the toughest challenge ever in this sense, because when I talk to people from my own, let's say, environment, then I know how they think more or less. I know the language they speak. We have the same culture, everything. And but with the Nynami guys, it was really a challenge because I'm an intruder in their world, and it sounds negative, but I'm the stranger. The white person is coming to their environment and is trying to tell them something. It's very suspicious, actually. And from their point of view, because the street life, it's they are used to being betrayed, people cheat on them, backstabbing all the time, stealing. So you don't trust people in general. And then there is this stranger coming to them and is believing in them. Nobody does this because people look down on them because they're weak, they're criminals, they're gangsters, they are street kids. It's not really something people actually look up to. And why should this European come to them and tell them the opposite? So I had to prove myself first. I had to prove myself in small little steps that I'm honest, that they can trust me, and that I'm right. And this is just the language I had to adapt. So I had to find out what are the triggers they respond to? What language do I have to use? How can I explain it to them? And then I had to prove myself first. So I had to tell them something. Hey guys, have you realized you know the city very well? So no, why are you saying this? And then we tested it immediately. So I told them, okay, you just told me this now, and now let's walk this road. Tell me more about this road. And then I put the mirror in their face. I convinced them that they realized, hey, actually I'm strong. I just wanted to make them the experience that they realize they have something to offer to a person like me. And this is what I achieved with them. And it took about, let's say, 4 to 6 months. It's a long process.
Incredible. So you've built Nynami with them together and created this organization where the youth who work with you have a job, earn a regular income, and they can live a life that's free of crime. And then in 2019, you handed over Nynami to the youths who now run the business themselves successfully. So can you tell us more about that transition and how you then gave the power fully to them?
Yes, exactly. So otherwise it wouldn't work. And it was from the beginning, my goal was to build something that is owned by these youth. Otherwise it wouldn't be sustainable. And what from the beginning, from the first day, when we developed the idea of Nynami, of these storytelling tours in Nairobi, it was clear from the beginning that it's 50-50 on an eye level, meaning these youth, they are responsible for the tours, they are responsible for the clients, they are responsible for the whole experience and service they are giving to the people. They don't need training from my side because they are the perfect storyteller guides. That's actually what's behind Nai Nami. Their street skills and their life story and their knowledge about the city makes them the perfect storytelling guides in the city. So that's nothing I don't have to interfere with them on this side of the business. On the other hand, they don't have the skills to build a business. I was the one who did the whole business development. I registered the company. I did the marketing. I organized the clients. Um, I promoted the tours. So this was my job, and that's why I'm saying 50-50. The youth are the service providers, and they deal with the clients, and I'm the business developer. And at some point after, so I built this up together with them, and then it was clear to me, so now we have to automate the operations, the processes in a way that they can deal with the client bookings themselves, with the operations. And this is what I mean by handing it over. So legally, they own the business, and now they are also capable of dealing with all the client bookings themselves. So now I'm just supporting in the background when it comes to accounting stuff or marketing wise as a hobby, I'm still supporting. But they are capable of running the operations of the business themselves.
Amazing. How has this changed the lives of the youth who work with you and who now run this business? Or maybe there's even one person who comes to mind who you can talk a bit more about and share his story.
hmm Yeah, there are, okay, so they changed a lot. This is actually incredible when you see how people at this age, I mean, the Nai Nami guys, they are between 20 and 30 years old. They are not kids anymore. And how they were able to change 180 degrees at this age, this is incredible. And the biggest change I could see is the self-esteem. So, for example, when I started with these three people in 2016, the three co-founders of Nynami, these youth, they were at this point, they were very, as I said, suspicious, shy. mm, they didn't trust anyone. They were more introverted than extroverted, more listening than talking. And along this journey of being Nynami and Nynami guides, they really became outgoing pe- people who love to connect with people from all around the world. Their self-esteem has improved a lot. They are now taking responsibilities for other people. They are helping out in the community. They take care of their kids. So it's crazy when you see how an improved self-esteem can really change, make you a better person, like better person in a way that you are capable of taking responsibility for other people as well, or take care of other people as well. And this is something you have to see it with your own eyes. This is difficult to explain.
No, it makes sense though. It sounds amazing to see that how, as they built their own self esteem, they then had the power to help others too.
Yes, exactly. And this is what they are doing nowadays. They are actually giving back to the community, which is also nice to see for myself, because I was always concerned, like, hey, the impact is small. So, of course, we started with three, and today we have eight storyteller guys, but it's only eight guys because we are a commercial business. We have to pay salaries. We cannot just hire an infinite number of guys and transform their lives. And I always thought, hey, it's only eight people, but what it's inspiring is the ripple effects. So now they became role models for other youth in their community. Now they are helping other people in the community. They take care of their own kids. They send them to school, and um, another impact we have is with the tourists. So far, we had about 4,000 tourists on our tours from more than 100 countries. And these tourists, they go back home to their countries with the stories of these guys and with the inspiration they received from these guys on the tour. This is also another way of impact. Um, and this I never saw this type of impact, but now I can see it more and more.
If you enjoy Going Conscious, please subscribe for a new episode every Wednesday. If you think your friends and networks would benefit from listening, please share this podcast of fulfillment and freedom with them. And if you listen on Apple Podcasts, please rate and review. It's great to read what you think, and your support makes a big difference. Together, let's grow our courage and tools to transform and live the lives we really want to. As well as creating Going Conscious, I work as a transformation coach and conscious brand consultant. I'm on a mission to help holistically maximize conscious entrepreneurs to drive positive changes for themselves, others, and the planet. I can help you to transition and level up personally, and I can help your brand grow and make a bigger impact. To connect with me and find out more about how we can work together, find me on Instagram at Nikki Trott or on my website, nikkitrott.com. Please get in touch. I'd love to hear from you, and let's talk about your path of growth and development. And so, what's changed for you and in your life as you've gone through this process with them?
Yeah, for me it was like, hey, finally you found something where you can really uh, be yourself. This was like whole Nynami is an expression of my true self, my soul. My I always tell people, look at Nynami and then you know who I am, because I did it myself. I created it myself, and of course everything you see with Nynami has my touch also. And uh, I in this moment when I was creating Nynami, I noticed, hey, now you found the place you can live your passion and also your purpose. And when I look back now at the whole journey, I'm just happy that I did it. So now nothing can happen to me anymore. I could die tomorrow and I wouldn't regret anything. Um, but also what is clear for me, the type of person I am, it's I'm not a person who wants to do the same thing for 20 years. So I created Nynami, but now I want to move on in my life. So now I want to start something new. Um, of course, something similar, but in a new place with new people. So I'm a person who likes to move on in life. And Nynami was the first stage, and now I'm heading to the second stage.
And is there anything you can tell us yet about what the second stage is looking like?
No, that's why I had to stop here because nothing is certain yet. And but it looks like that I can. I'm from Switzerland, and it looks like that I can tap into something similar as Nynami, not with tours, but working with disadvantaged youth, young adults here in Switzerland, um, on a project basis, and it looks like I could start a new project for disadvantaged youth here in Switzerland. But more, it's not certain yet, and I cannot share more yet.
Amazing, wonderful.
But what I can tell is I already connected Nai Nami, so the the business, the project in Kenya, with the Swiss youth here in Switzerland. I did it in form of a workshop, and this was the start in the right direction. So connecting disadvantaged youth from Nairobi slums with disadvantaged youth in Switzerland. And the difference is the disadvantaged youth from Nairobi slums, they made it in life through Nynami. They changed their life. They are not disadvantaged anymore. And they are now we did a pilot, they inspired disadvantaged youth in Switzerland who are not there yet. And I'm thinking of ideas how to connect these two worlds. And we did this online, of course, in case people are asking now, yeah, how did this work? So on Zoom.
So, what were some of the things you discovered from that, where you bring the disadvantaged youth from Switzerland to the guys of Nynami who have already made this amazing transformation?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure this out. And during the process, what I noticed is that they, of course, they loved the whole experience because it's something very special being connected to such guys from a completely different environment, and you are connected live with them and you can exchange. And what they told me here in Switzerland, they became aware of the fact that there are people out there who are facing much harder challenges, and they also made it somehow. So it was inspiring and motivating for them. This is what some of them told me, like to see, hey, actually, it's not that bad, the situation I'm in, and I can probably find a way out.
So, what does success look like to you now? And how has this changed since your days back in the banks and insurance companies and industries?
Or let's say success, privilege, that you can be in a place and do things that is really aligned with yourself, with your real true self. That's success to me. If you are able to live your life in such a way, and this is very difficult to find. I mean, in the end, finding a well-paid job, I always say the more you earn, the worse the job. Otherwise, they wouldn't have to pay you that much money. So it's a compensation for the pain. And success to me really means like you can be yourself and you can really make use of your potential and live your passion. That's success.
So, when you are living in line with your purpose and your passion, how do you know that you are?
Yeah, that's a very good question. You know, for me personally, I know when I get a source, an energy source, when I can draw from an energy source that is usually not there, and suddenly it's there in this environment when I'm living my purpose and passion. I can solve much more difficult problems that are much more difficult to solve than in a normal job in a company, because when I have this purpose, it gives me the motivation, it gives me the resilience, it gives me the creativity, it gives me the strength and power to really solve a problem. And this energy source is missing when I'm not in an environment that is aligned with my passion and purpose.
I love how you describe that. I completely agree and know what you're talking about. This sense that when you're doing something that's really aligned with your calling or your purpose or what you're meant to be doing, you unlock this incredible potential, strength, resilience, creativity that you sometimes didn't even know was there. Where do you think it comes from?
Now we are diving very deep. Where does it come from? Yeah, good question. That's a very spiritual question also. Um, I think when that's it, ever since human beings are asking for sense of life. What's sense of life? And I think when you are living, when you feel that this is your purpose, you don't have to ask this question anymore. Then you can really focus on just do, just just go with the flow. You can really focus on the tasks because you know. So problem number one is you can check it. So you don't have to always question everything. You don't have to ask yourself, who am I? Am I doing the right thing? Because your environment is giving you the feedback already. Yes, this is your purpose. This is sense of life for you, so now do it. I think it's an automatic subconscious process. That's what I believe.
Yeah, I really agree with you. You get this feedback from the environment where everything starts to work. So many synergies are happening. I feel like it's somehow being aligned with the universe because I do believe that we all have a purpose that's greater than ourselves. And so once we tune into that, we're no longer resisting it. And it does take so much energy to resist what's truly there deep inside us. And once you align with it, you're just flowing. It's like removing a dam from a river.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I believe the same. And I made this experience myself. Yes.
Amazing. So, do you have any advice for other people or any tips or anything that you followed yourself through this experience that helped you to unlock your true purpose?
Yes, also hindsight, I this is funny. I noticed because I this was the short version of my whole journey, of course, because we don't have 5 hours in this podcast. But people might think now that I'm pretty straightforward. I know what I want, and I go. I'm a very adventurous, risk-taking person. Actually, I'm not. I'm the opposite. So the whole journey. So I graduated in 2011, and every job I had was for about most of them were about for 1 year. And what I'm trying to what I'm trying to say is just be patient. Don't think like, hey, I have to find my purpose and passion now. I've been looking for it for 2 months already. This is impossible. No, hey, it takes years sometimes. So just be patient and don't give up. And sometimes also make a step back. That's what I did. So it took me 6 years of patience actually, and of trying out new things to get there. And even when I went to Nairobi, I didn't quit my job the next day. I booked the flight to Nairobi and then I went straight into a slum. No, it's step by step. I said at the beginning, I went to a school there first, and it's small little steps. And just listen to your inner voice. Does it feel right? Is it the place you want to be? Does it resonate with you, this place? And then take small little steps.
So, you mentioned listening to your inner voice and really asking, does this feel right? So, is that something that you've used to guide you through all of these little steps?
No, this was only at the end of the journey. Like really, when I was working as a business analyst, from this point onwards, I told to myself, okay, now you are not going to make the same mistake again and listen to others. So now you just do what you really want to do and do it in a smart way. So it means, yeah, like make a plan, but really follow your it can be simple, your hobbies. Go back to places you enjoyed. Go back to um, so everybody has these moments and situations in life. Um, where he or she really felt alive, aligned, happy moments. It usually people call it this was one of the best moments or phases in my life. Go back to try to go back to this place again. Try to make it happen again, maybe in a smaller, shorter, and different way. But these are like small prototypes. And this is usually, as you said before, the universe is telling us through that's the voice of the universe is telling us, hey, this is the environment you belong to. Now you just have to find ways of creating your own job in this environment or something like that. It can be anything.
And what was the hardest part of making this big change then? And starting to listen to yourself and what you truly wanted to do instead of listening to others?
Phew, good question. The hardest part is this patience, like really not giving up, because then uh, once I realized in this position as a business analyst, okay, now you have to quit your job. I quit my job, but then it took me another 1.5 years before I went to Nairobi. So I took this time to find out who are you, where do you belong, and what I did during these 1.5 years was research. I met people from I knew, okay, I want to move to the social sector, but where, how, with who? There are so many possibilities, and it took me 1.5 years for all the research. That's what I meant by be patient. And this is the hard part, because this can also be frustrating. So I met with many people working in different positions, doing different stuff in the social sector, and some of them they say, hey, never, of course, you know this. They told me, hey, never make this mistake and move to the social sector, go back to the bank. And you also hear these voices, and this can be really frustrating. But just stick to your inner voice, and as I said, I'm saying it again, be patient and move on.
Yeah. Patience. We're always looking for the end result and
Yes.
instead have to really just trust the journey. And that can be the hardest thing when the end point is really unknown.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and especially nowadays, it's a very fast-paced world, and people expect things to happen immediately. Also me, I always fall for this trap, but this is not how life works usually.
Mm, very true. It is absolutely a trap. It's a way that we trip ourselves up and stop listening and start overthinking and then really confuse the journey that we need to be taking.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So, is there a key message that you'd like to share as our conversation comes to a close?
A key message. Yeah, good question. I want to inspire the audience with our Nai Nami statement. So just believe in yourself. You can always change your life, and you can also find your purpose. If a street child from Nairobi can do it, you can do it too. So you don't have any excuses anymore. Um, and uh, you won't regret when you try. That's basically what I'm telling people. So the fear of failure is very big in my life in general. I'm not this courageous adventurer, and I realized, hey, you cannot fail. It's almost impossible, because in the worst case, you met a lot of new people, you acquired new skills, and you have an amazing story to share. This is what
Mm.
these three things you can always take away from failure. Anyway, so actually you cannot fail. That's what I always say.
I love that. And a fear of failure is something that holds us all back so much. And it's interesting hearing how you talk about it because it's something I work on with my clients a lot. And one of the questions that I always ask them as well is, what is the worst that can happen? And then we realize it's actually not bad at all. The fear that we feel is just a sense of the unknown
Yes,
and being
exactly.
uncomfortable with the unknown.
Hmm.
But if we know we don't want to stay where we are, then the discomfort of the unknown is something we can only embrace.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So that's that there is no failure actually. That's what I tell people always. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's so true. And every step is a step to where we're going next.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, Gianmarco, is there a book that you've read recently and loved that you can share with us?
Yeah, it's a funny question because I never read books. I'm not a reader. But sometimes the last book I read and I love it was from Robert Greene, The Laws of Human Nature. This is a book I
Mm.
can recommend.
And what is it about it that you loved?
Um, it's my because I also studied psychology. It's just my deep interest in human nature, in people, and what this book does is it really try in 18 chapters. I think it's 18 chapters. He's explaining the different layers, the 18 different layers a human has, a person has in general. And if you understand these facets of a person, you know how people are in general. And you learn a
Mm.
lot about yourself also.
Sounds fascinating. And so you're not such a keen reader. Where do you like to get your inspiration from?
YouTube podcasts. I'm a listener and not a reader. Yeah. So usually I listen to podcasts and I just follow channels on YouTube. There are some amazing content nowadays. And it can be anything. It can be something about physics. It can be something about philosophy. So, yeah, the whole variety.
Well, I love the audio channels too, of course, being here on the podcast.
Yes.
And so, lastly, where's the best place for listeners to find you online?
Yeah, to find me online is, of course, on the Nai Nami page. This is nai-nami.com. And I also have my own website where I just upload my activities that people can see and follow what I'm working on currently. And this is just my first name, Gianmarco, hyphen my last name, Marinello, .com. There people can find more content about my work.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was very exciting and a pleasure for me. Thanks a lot.
I hope you found this episode inspiring. I love how Gianmarco described the challenge he had in Nairobi of convincing the guys from the slums that they have great value to give others. How he could see the value in them which they didn't even know they had, and the biggest challenge was to change their mindsets. This can be applied to everyone. We so often constrain ourselves by our own limiting beliefs about our value. But we are the masters of our mindsets, and sometimes with a little help, we can shift them completely and then watch the changes unfold in our lives. I enjoyed how Gianmarco explained how the higher salary, the worse the job, that the money corporates pay you is compensation for what you have to do. I think this is true in many ways. Usually, chasing a higher paycheck doesn't bring us happiness at all. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe now. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave a 5-star rating and short review. If you think people you know might benefit from listening to Going Conscious, please share it with them. I know I get much of my inspiration from podcasts which are shared with me. For all episodes, our library, and more, visit goingconscious.com. Your support to spread this positive message of fulfillment and freedom means so much. As well as hosting Going Conscious, I help conscious entrepreneurs to transition and unleash their power and purpose with my transformation coaching and conscious brand consulting work. Discover more on Instagram at Nikki Trott or on my website, nikkitrott.com. I'd love to hear from you and to talk about your goals, questions, or how we can work together. And if I don't hear from you before then, see you next Wednesday on the next episode of Going Conscious. As always, live your freedom.